Welcome back. We've been talking a little bit recently about what America loves and what America teaches us. Competition and success are the core paradigms of American life. And it's not a matter of being in a particular line, lineage, group, church, faith. It is a cultural attribute of being American that you wish to compete and succeed. And I want to draw for you an analysis of a city in America that's failing and why it's failing based on its lack of competition, its lack of success, and its failure to commit to excellence. Now, in today's Wall Street Journal, there is the message of Motown. It's on the editorial page, A14, Thursday, March 15th, 2012. And it says, and I want to read part of this to you, "The clock is running out on Detroit. City leaders are up against a $200 million deficit driven by exploding labor costs, and they may not be able to pay their bills come May. The state of Michigan has just swept in to save them. Trouble is, city politicians don't like the strings attached. Governor Rick Schneider is offering Detroit a consent agreement which includes $100 million of state-backed bonds that would tide the city over until labor agreements can be restructured. The catch? Labor agreements will have to be restructured." Now, a labor agreement is what? More than anything else, a labor agreement is an attempt to rub the edges off of excellence. If you come in and you're a great worker and you can turn out 30 widgets in an hour, or 50 widgets in an hour, or 100 widgets in an hour, the union contract says that the union will turn out 30 an hour. And the idea is that somehow it's unfair to have a piecework system. Frederick Winslow Taylor, the greatest management scientist of all time, believed that piecework, as long as it was fairly administered and based on a set standard that was objective, was the greatest way to pay people, because then every worker became an individual entrepreneur who could determine their own pay by their own productivity. The union is the antithesis of that. The union says you're all average, you're all the same, you're cogs in a machine, you're totally interchangeable. And the only thing you can do is band together and disrupt the effort to be productive. Now, even the patron saint of liberalism, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, said the public sector unions are anathema to democracy. Roosevelt railed about public unions and said they were the worst possible perversion of a good idea, because the union exists to give the worker equal bargaining power against the owner. In the government situation, the owner is the citizen, and they're not trying to do anything bad to the worker. They, in fact, have good intentions for the worker. When you look at Detroit, you're looking at a city that is in absolute failure. They are hundreds of millions of dollars upside down. Now, two numbers I want to give you, and I want to quote these directly from the article. I don't want anybody saying I made the numbers up. The city of Detroit has a $600 million unfunded pension liability and a $5 billion with a B, $5 billion liability for retiree health programs. Now, there are 11,000 city employees in the city of Detroit. If they laid off all 11,000, they couldn't pay the legacy cost of retired employees. What does that tell you? America loves a winner. It will not stand a loser. Detroit is the poster child for public sector unionism and private sector unionism. The federal government of the United States, led by President Barack Obama, bailed out the automakers, GM and Chrysler. Ford stayed out of it. God bless Ford for having the courage to go their own and not be ruined by the federal government interference. The bondholders in both Chrysler and GM were slaughtered in favor of the workers. And if you were going to point at the group of people who have caused the quality of the car to decline the most, you'd have to flip a coin between management and workers. They both were part and parcel of the decline. But Detroit, as a monument to the failure of collective bargaining, to the failure of politicians allowed to be in bed with public sector unions, is undeniable. America loves a winner, and they will not tolerate a loser. When you look at Detroit, and I urge you to read this, the message of Motown, Wall Street Journal opinion page, A14, March 15th, 2012. Quan hates it when I give a date because then if he doesn't get it right on, he'll be in trouble. When you look at this and read this and think about it in terms of what is it you love in your day-to-day life. Is it being forced to pay for mediocre people and provide them with a standard of living that they never earned? Or do you love seeing excellence carried out before you? Do you love to see people compete and bring out the very best in themselves and others? Yesterday at 4 a.m., the first musher crossed the line in Nome, Alaska to win the Iditarod. And this young man who won yesterday, Mr. Seavey, was behind for a good part of the race. A young lady named Zirkle was leading the race for a good part of the race. And this is a brutal 1,049 miles from Anchorage to Nome with sled dogs. The competition that goes on in that race is so wonderful because first and foremost, the health of the dogs is more important than anything else. So the mushers sacrifice themselves for the dogs. And it is a wonderful example of the human spirit carried to the highest level. Most people don't know that what the Iditarod celebrates is a reenactment of the effort to get diphtheria vaccine from Anchorage to Nome to save the people in Nome. It is the most noble of events, and it characterizes, it centers on, it focuses on the most wonderful human attribute, the search for excellence. We love winners. We will not tolerate losers. Detroit and the model of Detroit is a loser. God bless you. God bless the United States. And God bless the people of Detroit. They just need a different system.